Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a new account to get amazing odds boosts every single day. Rudo, AJ, Blais, Jesse might come back. I don't know.
He was here.
Yeah.
His power might have gone out. I don't know. Avs win 3-1 over the Calgary Flames in a hockey game that was actually pretty fun. I enjoyed this hockey game quite a bit, even if some of that time was the Avs, living clean and doing things like that. But let's do the 60-second rundown first, which I can take. I guess it was 4-1.
We don't have a timer.
Okay, I'll just start talking then. It's fine. First period of this game, the Avs came out and pretty much dominated on the front end of it, not just possessing the puck well. They end up scoring 3 goals. Probably should have scored another one as Erod missed a wide-open net. But 3 really good goals. The first one really liked, especially because Devon Taves, in Cale Makar's absence, activating, helping create a play for Mikko to finish, who gets his 30th of the year in game number 43. That's pretty fast. And once again, it was the finish show for Colorado as the next 2 goals come from Arturi Lehkonen. And the Avs put themselves in the driver's seat extremely quickly in this one. One of those does come on the power play, so they do a good job there too. The second period, loved the first half of it. Thought the Avs played really well with the 3-goal lead. The second half of it was literally just absolute madness, chaos. Georgiev playing well and also getting really lucky. So a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. The third period definitely went full turtle, full Calgary push. The Avs do give up 1 goal early on the penalty kill, but they weather the storm and then get the rarest play in hockey where Mikko Rantanen scores a goal without technically scoring a goal into the empty net to make it a 4-1 final.
It was about 125.
I mean, that's not that bad. Could have been worse. Anyway, rewind it back up. First period of this hockey game. Best first period in a while for this hockey team. I know they've had some good ones as of late, but certainly the first 12 minutes of it, been a while since we've seen the Avs dominate a team like that out the gate.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
The biggest thing for me was I thought they looked really confident.
Yep. Weren't afraid of nobody.
Yeah, no, they weren't afraid. They were making good decisions. I've talked to Cale a couple times in the last week about them starting with that Chicago game. They really tried to focus on, well, what are we doing well and how do we replicate that? And I think you've seen that in every game since. And what's funny is the scores have actually been closer as I think their play has gotten better, like in certain areas. Like in that first game, they took a lot of things they did well in Chicago and they added onto that. And then against Detroit, they took all those things that they did even better against Ottawa and they added onto that. And then I thought tonight against a much better Calgary team than those last 2 teams that I just named, I thought they played even better. And honestly, the second and third period really didn't even bother me all that much. It got a little scrambly at times, but for the most part, I didn't feel anything sustained, ultra threatening from Calgary. And again, the Avs felt composed and comfortable playing with that 3-goal lead and letting Calgary kind of like, yeah, okay, go ahead and skate and take these shots from out high. And, they every time they got the puck on their stick, they seemed like they knew what they were doing with it. And that to me is the biggest difference between what we're seeing right now and what we've seen over the last few weeks is the decision-making. It was so good all of last year that gave teams fits because they just didn't make a mistake. Over the last couple of weeks, they were just making bad plays all over the place. That was what was stuck out the most. And over these last 3 games, and for me, especially tonight, even in the second and third, It looked like when they were getting the puck on their sticks, they were establishing a zone, whether it be their defensive zone or the offensive zone. Guys knew where they were supposed to be. They knew what they were supposed to do with the puck, and they executed it like they knew guys were going to be where they wanted them to be, and they were. And really, you asked Georgiev a few times to step up, and like I said, there was a couple moments where they were running around a little bit, but for the most part, I never truly felt like that lead was in jeopardy in the third period.
Yeah, I never was actually worried about this game either. Once they got up 2-3-0, they just seemed too comfortable and too confident playing in this game. And obviously there are plenty of things they could have done better, and we'll get into that in a minute. But this is not a hockey team that blows 3-goal leads. Certainly when they play the way they're capable of. It's not something that happens very often.
Well, and when you have no Cale Makar, you're talking about you're missing your best, most dynamic guy. Defensively, offensively, you feel like we can kind of find our way through this, right? We can figure it out. But defensively, you have to like what they did for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about it's not just Cale Makar. You're missing half your defense, and if you take if you take Curtis McDermott, Jacob McDonald, Andreas Englund, and Brad Hunt off the Avalanche, I don't know how many other NHL teams those four guys are on. Yeah. McDermott and Englund, because they're big and they'll fight, are probably somewhere. Brad Hunt has been a seventh guy the last couple of years. You're talking about these are all really fringy NHL players as they are, and all of them had important roles in this game. All of them had important plays. And this was a rising tide raises all boats kind of game from the team defense perspective, where, in the final few minutes, you have Logan O'Connor and Alex Newhook give you probably your best shift in the last 5 minutes of a game. You get Curtis McDermott absolutely seals a guy off along the wall, backhands it up and out, and helps create a scoring chance on the other end. You have Sam Girard and Mikko Rantanen outworking Nazem Kadri and win a puck battle between those two, get the puck up and out of the zone. Like those guys, you're talking about, those guys are absolutely key when you're missing a guy like Cale Makar. You can't ever replace that. But what you need is everybody else to just a little bit more of a level. They need to raise their game just a little bit. And you saw there were some nice defensive plays from Brad Hunt in this. Andreas Englund had a solid night. Curtis McDermott had his moments. Sam Girard and Eric Johnson were really solid in this. I really didn't have like, there were some mistakes, some things you don't love, but that's going to happen. It's the NHL. The other team is also an NHL team.
I was going to say, I wanted to make sure, because I've liked Andreas Englund over just in his call up in general. He's had a couple of games that you want a little bit more from him, but I think for me thus far, like at his worst, he's an average to slightly below average third pairing guy. But at his best tonight, like his best hockey is bona fide NHLer. Like he looks good. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He uses his size well. I thought that was all at its best tonight. I liked Brad Hunt's night, and you touched on all this, AJ. I just wanted to comment as well I thought all of those guys brought a game at a higher level than what we normally see them, including Curtis McDermott. And I think even when you have Cale Makar in the lineup, I think that's also been true over the last couple nights, and that's what's opened Cale up to one, skate fewer minutes, and two, settle a little bit more into the rhythm like what he had in terms of his role over the last couple seasons. And you don't get to free him up like that if you're not getting good performances turned in by Englund, Hunt, McDermott, et cetera, et cetera.
Devon Taves also kicked ass.
Yeah, I was going to say, I appreciate the depth guys, but Devon Taves hit Blais's first bet 6 minutes into the hockey.
That first period was great, too. I mean, after the Avs did come out and, they put 3 goals in right away, you saw Calgary give a little bit of a pushback there at the end of the first, going into the second. And the way that the Avs just kind of shut that down, especially coming out in that second period, You got to be happy for that because there were a lot of chances there and they took care of business. So those are positives to take from the Avs that have had trouble keeping people from, getting back into games after scoring early.
And to build on that, when you get a 3-0 lead, the second period is the one you're worried about.
Yeah.
If you get through the second period with that 3-0 lead, you're like, yeah, we're winning this hockey game.
If you don't, it's a disaster. At that point.
And that second period, the Avs have more shot attempts at 5v5. They win the shots battle. They have more scoring chances, and high danger chances finish at 1-1. So there was no it got a little loosey goosey at times and a little back and forth. It opened up and actually was a pretty entertaining period. But they did work in the second period, and that's Georgiev. Whatever chance cropped up, he was there to erase. It was just good hockey from the Avs. And then that third period, look, you only get so much credit for not blowing a lead, but they didn't blow the lead.
Who cares? At that point, you're playing a game without Cale Makar.
Yeah.
Calgary's giving you everything they have left in the tank. And you're getting by with shifts from Hunt, McDermott, Englund. You won the hockey game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what more you can ask from there. AJ, you started to touch on it, though. You want your defenseman to look good? Get a goalie performance like you did tonight out of Georgiev. I mean, dude did everything in his power to put this one together for Colorado tonight.
I mean, he stopped some goals, like goals that should have gone in. He was big tonight.
Yeah. No, I mean it's and AJ's eyes are already rolling, but the timely saves thing where you talk about getting out of that second period, because I was thinking the same thing as you're coming down there the last 5 minutes. It's like you've had a decent period in terms of they had that one really strong push there in the middle where they generated a couple good scoring opportunities. And then after that, I thought they defended well enough that even through that push, it wasn't that bad. But there's a save right at the halfway point of the period. I think it was at 10-10. It's the shoulder save coming right down the slot. That's just one of those saves that you're not wrong in the sentiment, AJ, of like, you need all of the saves, because if you don't make the next one, then that first one is kind of irrelevant. But the point being is that he makes that huge save and then, pass, and the puck goes out of play. I remember marking that save down and saying, keep that in mind, because if that goes in and this is 3-1, suddenly you're one shot away here in the last 10 minutes of this period from this being a 1-goal game going into the third period, and your 3-goal lead. Losing it that way really doesn't even feel that bad, because that's, it's 2 goals in a period, then 1 the next. And I just thought that was a particularly huge save for Georgiev, just given where we were at in the game and what the score was and all of that.
And when you do have a 3-goal lead, you're talking about the longer you keep it, the steeper the climb back up the hill gets. Mm-hmm. Because if they do get one at the end of the second period, and then you still take the same penalty to start the third, and they score on that, in a matter of 4 game minutes, that could flip around. All of a sudden, you're 2 minutes from a 3-0 lead going into the third period, and then you're 2 minutes into the third period, you're in a 3-2 game where anything can happen. So getting that kind of performance from Georgiev was really, really important. And honestly, I wonder how much of it was driven by he can't be comfortable. Pavel Francouz's got 3 starts in a row as soon as he got healthy, basically. He comes in, gets 3 starts in a row, plays awesome,
and he earned that third start. You know what I mean?
And you're not gonna be comfortable when he gives you the starts that he gave you, and so Georgiev knows he's going to Calgary. This is the best team on the schedule over the last handful of games. He's got an opportunity to kind of make a point here that, hey, he's not giving away this net to Pavel Francouz. And to me, point made.
Honestly, with Georgiev, it even felt a little bit like you saw the confidence come back, especially I think after he got call it good luck, call it Calgary needs to shoot a little bit better through the second period where they hit a few posts, a couple of pucks that got behind Georgiev didn't go into the net. And I think you kind of saw Georgiev go, oh, okay, now all this bullshit isn't going in on me anymore. I'm not getting all these breaks not going my way. And in the third period especially, he started throwing a little bit of flair on some of those saves. Like, he was feeling it.
Yeah, you tweeted it. I can't remember when it was, Rudo, but the Avs, in addition to them not playing fully up to what they were capable of over that stretch there, it would be outright ridiculous to say that they didn't have some really crummy luck along the way. And I think some of that you saw that, with like the Georgiev stick slam in Vancouver.
Yeah.
I think that was some of that where it's just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like,
that Florida game, dude.
Right.
That fifth goal, give me a fucking break, dude.
Right. And so to your point, Rudo, like, it is one of those things where it's just like, when Bednar told us the other day, like, the guys aren't frustrated, they're down. I think that's kind of what he's referring to. Like, at a certain point, you're just like, okay, yeah, we need to be better, but can we get like this much luck?
Yeah.
Like, this much luck would be like a nice little spark for us. And I think you've seen a little bit of that combined with them playing better, working harder. I think you have seen just a little touch of luck go their way in a way that it wasn't a couple weeks ago. That's not the difference between this week and last week. That's not what I'm saying, but it helps.
Yeah, I mean, we got crushed. People were crushing us every day, tweeting at us like angrily. Like, oh, all you guys do is blame luck and this and that. And it was like, regardless of the fact that was utter bullshit the entire time, we were just talking about, look, the Avs are not getting any kind of anything going their way
if
at
you
all.
Watched it and paid attention, is like, you knew that wasn't sustainable.
Well, and you know that, like, no team lives that cleanly or that, I guess, uncleanly. Like, all the time. The world
always balances back to middle.
Yeah. The world just doesn't work that way.
It was watching and percentage for me,
especially with like pucks that were like taking bounces off of sticks right to a guy. Like, you look at the Nick Schmaltz goal in the Arizona game, and I'm like, this is a dude that fans on a one-timer and a puck lands on a guy's stick, literally a foot from your goaltender, and all he has to do is just lift it over the pad and into the net. The John Tavares has a puck that just gets away from him, and it lands right on Michael Bunting's stick, and he scores into the net. And you see the same thing happen in the Detroit game where the puck gets away from Newhook and it goes right to Mikko Rantanen, who beats a goalie 5-hole, and you're like the pendulum was swinging back towards this is no longer absolute horse shit every night. And tonight you really saw like the Avs were they got good luck.
Yeah.
Some good things broke their way. That's part of the thing in the NHL is that you just have to get some of that along the way. It makes your life a lot easier if you can get up 3-0. Their Colorado's third goal, the power play goal is a puck that Mikko Rantanen is actively trying to chip. He tries that little chip play along the net. It gets through him, lands right on Lehkonen's stick on the back door, and he puts it in. And he still has to finish, and things still have to happen. But that's an accident. That's an accidental thing that happens that just goes Colorado's way, and they make the most of it. So absolutely, it has helped them to get it to good things just happened.
Well, and I think hockey is unique, at least among the four major sports. Maybe soccer is a little bit like this, but it's not at the same pace of like the fluidity and the speed of hockey, where like all sports are games of inches, right? But I think hockey kind of embodies that more than any other, again, because of the pace and how fluid play is, where literally a puck jumping this way by an inch could be game changing, and it's just. I always laugh, AJ, going back to like what you're saying about us getting buried about talking about that. I always say it, whether you're talking about injuries or bounces or whatever. Our job when we talk about these games or write about them or whatever, It's not to make excuses or, define why things happen, but it is our job to give context to what's going on. And in the same way that if you're on the other end tonight and that puck skips through the crease, you're saying, damn, that's super unlucky for Calgary that puck takes that angle and goes across the blue instead of into the back of the net. That was crummy luck for Calgary. Like, that is a fact of what happened tonight. And that was true for the Avs for the last couple of weeks. And you've gotten some breaks along the way here these last 3 days. It's always about just providing the context, and it goes both ways.
The nature of hockey, because the puck is shaped the way that it is.
Right.
You get unpredictable bounce. It's like fumbles in football. Fumble luck is a huge thing that can define team seasons. Hello, Broncos. Like,
is it luck when it's Melvin Gordon though?
We don't need to really get into it, but like when you like lose like 5 fumbles at the goal line, like it's not been your year, man.
For sure.
Like, and in the same way that like with pucks, man, and that's sure helps to have 82 games where you get to fight that goddamn thing, because you see the most skilled players in the world just taking whacks at that thing, hoping it goes the right way. How many times do you see mishit pucks go into nets because a goalie thinks that he's trying to make a save of, he thinks the puck is going to be in a certain area, and then a guy mishits it completely and it slides flat on the ice and goes into the 5-hole.
That was another great save Georgiev had tonight on that kind of knuckler from the point.
I do want to go to Coach Blais here a little bit. If you're Jared Bednar in the locker room,
Coach Blais, oh my God.
Jesse, you're benched.
Yeah,
Get down on the other end of the bench.
You're Bednar in the locker room after this game. What are you saying on the Avs? Are you nitpicking? Are you saying great effing win? Are you saying you guys got lucky? What are you telling Colorado after this game?
I'm not telling them they got lucky. I mean,
for
they
real.
made their own luck. Yeah, they did a great job. I mean, again, and they played well. They came out. They started to do what they haven't been doing. Right? Is like, first off, these slow starts, they're no longer happening anymore. Right? They came out, dominated, got up 3 goals, and then hung on the right way, had scoring chances. Calgary's a good team. They're going to push back. They're going to get their chances. They get a power play goal. That's it. That's a great job. Keep doing what you're doing.
Let the good times roll, as they say. You can roll up those good times right into the divisional round of the NFL playoffs with DraftKings Sportsbook. You can get $5 on any NFL divisional round. What's the round of the playoffs called for the NFL? I don't know. Anyway, go bet $5 on an NFL game. Get $200 in free bets when you go with the code DNVR at DraftKings Sportsbook. You can take that $200. You can bet it on whatever you want. I'm not saying Mikko's going to win the Rocket, but he's got a chance. He's in the conversation at this point. Like,
NHL.com put out that graphic the other day of like their top 8 Hart Trophy like in-house poll getters, and he wasn't even in the top 8. It's like, that's insane. That's insane that nobody has him in their top 8.
When even your own fan base, though, there's people still being like, he's a bum.
There's not that many left on Mikko at this point.
There's not, but there was like in that stretch where he's just like, McKinnon's gone and he's scoring every game. Somebody's like, he's a bum. We got to trade him. You're like, what? What are you watching?
Yeah, certainly Mikko put a lot of that to bed at this point. Now with 31 goals on the season, you can bet on that.
7 back.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's a conversation. He's in the top 4. You can bet on that. You can bet on whatever you want over at DraftKings. Use the DNVR code for the new account. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. Other terms, restrictions, and conditions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook or the notes in the description down below for more. And, of course, if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. We're also brought to you by the amazing folks over at Illegal Pete's. There's one just a couple of blocks from the bar where you can get your delicious burritos with all of the freshest ingredients. They have something for everybody. If you have dietary restrictions, just let them know. They'll get you hooked up, even if it's gluten-free. Some of the harder ones, they've got you covered. If you're just on a diet and want to do keto or all of the other crazy ones that I don't know the name of. Clearly, I don't diet, okay? We realized that.
The belly smack. My goodness.
If you do, you can get taken care of at Illegal Pete's. They've got you covered. Go check them out. Hit up their happy hour as well from 3 to 6 p.m. Great place to pregame going to the DNVR bar. Just throwing it out there. You can pregame at Illegal Pete's and then come on down to the bar for the game and have a great time. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. What has happened? Who possessed Arturi Lehkonen over the last 3 games?
Arturi Lehkonen.
Because the man has 5 goals and then tack on an assist for 6 points in the last 3 games. I don't know if the graphic's ready, but he's getting our king of the game. The dude shows up and shows out for Colorado.
Nate likes playing with him, dude. Nate
he does.
likes playing with that guy. And there's a count. Like, I seriously, I like that line of McKinnon, Rodriguez, Lehkonen.
I'd keep 2/3 of it together if Landy comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Erod, but
yeah.
But
No,
does Lecky they kind of play the same game though? You put them on the same line. You got
Who?
2 grinders on that line.
Who?
Landy and Lehkonen kind of have that same kind of grind set game.
well, I mean, between Landeskog, Nichushkin, and Rantanen, I don't think there's a wrong answer as to which third guy you put on that line.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
I'd probably go with Landeskog, but I mean,
Good problem to have.
All right, I'm gonna derail this completely really fast. When I went on the CHGO show before the Chicago game, we talked about let's just say they trade for Jonathan Taves. What do you make your top 6 look like?
it's really
What
easy.
What is it?
Well, I mean, I guess it's really easy for me because I've.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm asking.
I would
gave
go
mine-
Lehkonen. I would go Lehkonen, McKinnon, and Nichushkin, and then I would go with
interesting.
Landeskog, Taves, and Rantanen.
See,
I just think that the separating Rantanen and McKinnon has brought out the best in Rantanen. And so
I agree
that's
with
the
that.
key there, because otherwise my initial before Mikko decided that he was going to figure out how to be a superstar all on his own and a grown-up, I was thinking that you go Lehkonen, McKinnon, Rantanen, and then Landeskog, Taves, and Nichushkin for the ultimate defensive
I love
stopper
that
line.
shutdown line for sure.
And you'll have that option in game
Right.
at any point to make that switch whenever you do want that kind of a shift.
Right. I just thought, again, it's. I'm not saying it's going to happen. We're still a ways off from that, but
Yeah.
just with Taves looking fine this year, not great, not outstanding. With him looking good, I just keep thinking that's more and more of an intriguing option for exactly what you just said, AJ. Really, any combination of those 6 players
Mm-hmm.
that you have to play with throughout, the course of a game, you're going to be hard pressed to find a bad combination. You can have
And then you throw out a third line of Newhook, Comfer, and Rodriguez, and you're like,
right. And suddenly all that depth stuff that we were talking about at the beginning of the year, you're back to feeling very good about.
yeah, because then your fourth line is Andrew Cogliano, Ben Myers, and Logan O'Connor, and you feel completely comfortable with this.
Or Darren Helm if he's not.
He doesn't seem good. Doesn't look good for Darren. But getting back to the
doing
game.
the beer league rule, getting his minimum number of regular season games in so he can play in the playoffs.
Some absolute nonsense is going to come out of my mouth here, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Classic.
If Arturi Lehkonen just keeps his mouth shut and takes the penalty that isn't his, do the Avs kill that penalty?
No.
No? You think Logan O'Connor doesn't save the day?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I think they would have caught it eventually, right?
I genuinely don't know. If Arturi just said, "Yep, okay, I'll take it."
You had to love Anton Bleed trying to take the fall for it. That was the best part of the whole thing. Anton Bleed hopping off the bench being like, guys, it was me.
Nope.
That right there. Anton Bleed's best contribution so far this season.
Is this what they meant by loud player? Obviously, the Avs do give up the 1 goal on the power play. Didn't love the penalty from LOC. Not a great one there. I really don't have that big of a problem with the goal being scored. It's an unbelievably good shot.
Yeah.
Just don't put yourself in that spot when you're up by 3. Don't take the penalty.
The timing of all of that was the only part that I didn't, care for. So early in the third period, going back to what AJ was talking about earlier, of you let them back in the game that early in the third period. It's almost kind of like you let them back in it at the end of the second.
Mm-hmm.
The timing of all of that was the only thing that I didn't care for. But
yeah, I mean, if that happens at 13 minutes, you're like, so?
Right.
But at 18 minutes, 17 minutes, you are kind of like, okay, like we got like a nervy 15 minutes we got to get through here, because even before the empty net goal, like if you can get to the last 90 seconds with that 2-goal lead, you're like, we're winning this hockey game.
Yeah, it's really hard to mess that up.
It's really rare, too. Even in a season where teams are giving up more leads than ever, it's still really rare for 2 teams to score 2 goals in 90 seconds.
Yeah. Beyond that, I do want to talk about a few of the negatives in this one. Number 1, your worst play of the game can't be coming from your best player in the game.
Dude, that blind backhand that creates that break
So bad.
Dude, what is Nathan McKinnon doing? I mean, there's trusting guys, but what is that, man?
An iota of the game situation and the awareness. You're up by 2 in the third period. There's no reason in a million years to ever try that in that situation.
Yep, I agree.
Taves did it too. Taves did it too in the Avs zone, and it led to a high danger scoring chance right in the slot. It was a straight over pass. It was bad. Other than that, though, he was awesome.
I agree. I mean, Taves balled out, played 27 minutes tonight. It's just you would love for the look. I get it. They're feeling confident. They're playing the way they want to play. But man, if that puck ends up in the back of the Avs net, you're looking at McKinnon and going, buddy, what the hell?
Well, and even in the last 8 minutes of that game, as they're trying to keep that lead, your most productive shift is coming from Alex Newhook and Logan O'Connor. They're the only line that gets out there and is consistently pinning the Flames in their own zone, not shooting the puck. They're not doing anything that's going to show up on a box score. They're not doing any of that, but they were pucks deep, cycle the puck, get it to the other guy, have him get it back, win your battle, move it along. Great. They killed 90 seconds. They killed 90 seconds on one shift. Just in their own zone, and then between getting on, getting off. They had a 90 seconds like window where they controlled that game, and then Rantanen's line gets on the ice and things go sideways immediately. And it wasn't like atrocious, obviously. It was just you saw with Alex Newhook's line, like they were getting it deep, they were winning their battles. They were actually just doing those late game things that you need to do to protect the lead. And McKinnon was getting out there and just giving up chances. And you're like, what is happening? This is not normal.
Beyond that, we gave the defense a lot of praise. A lot of it was deserved. You're running a 7D formation tonight. You're running a bunch of borderline NHLers. At times, the miscommunications on the defensive end got a little bit dicey.
Yeah, McDermott and Taves, where Taves is trying to throw that puck behind him because he's used to Cale Makar being there to pick it up. And Curtis McDermott's not within 10 feet. I don't know which one of them blew that. Like, I don't know if McDermott is supposed to be there.
Sure.
Taves obviously thinks there's somebody going to be there, and McDermott's like, what are you doing? So that miscommunication. And then Brad Hunt. Yeah. What the flying fuck are you doing?
Tries to set a pick on Sam Girard
himself. Sam Girard for no reason.
Yeah.
Like Girard's got the puck, he's moving it. He's behind we see him do this all the time. The problem always comes with Girard is the backhand up the wall. Does it make it out or does it not? Like, and Brad Hunt's like, we're not even getting there today. I'm forechecking you, baby. What the shit, dude? Like, he gets in, he takes an insanely bad angle, causes that turnover. The entire thing is on Brad Hunt because Sam Girard's just doing what Sam Girard does. And Brad Hunt's like, nah, I'm separating you from this thing. And then you're watching people like, Sam Girard is useless. That guy in the crowd with the idiotic sign, I'm sure, was freaking out. It was so like, that was one of those moments where you're like, what are you doing? Like, there's a miscommunication, and then there's just, he's just like drifting around in nowhere. And
lost.
You're, again, ask yourself, why is the player doing this thing? What is the purpose of this decision that he has made? Or is he just watching the puck and drifting around? It was so stupid.
It was funny, too, because, like, right out of the bat, like, first 3 minutes, I think it was Brad Hunt's first shift. Great moves, like, coming out of the zone, like, in the neutral zone, just making some space, making a great pass, you know, like, doing those little things where you're like, he's got this figured out, and then that shit happens, and it just changes the whole outlook on what he's doing because he's got those moves, and if he doesn't like overcommit and try to do too much with the puck, he plays a good game. But he does have those brain farts.
When you see
what you just discussed
in front of his own net, he makes a really nice deflection of the puck, and he still gives up a high danger scoring chances. That guy just outworks him.
Yeah,
and you're just like. Like, ultimately, I thought more than anything, it was a step forward for Brad Hunt. He was good. I liked the majority of his game, but the mistakes were like the big mistakes. It was the same with McDermott. There were a couple of plays where there was one sequence in particular, 3 attempts it took him to get a puck out of the zone. Like, you normally don't get 3 shots at it, dude.
Yeah.
Normally, if you get 2, something has gone wrong, and the second one ends up in the back of your net. And he got 3 shots at it in one shift. So, like, he got it out on the third one, and great job, but bleh.
One more negative-ish, and something we've harped on before, so I don't want to go too deep into it. But this was a game where, for the majority of it, the Avs were up by 3 goals, certainly up by 2 for significantly more than that. Neither Anton Bleed nor Ben Myers hit the 5-minute mark tonight. If you can't trust a guy to play him when you are up by 3 goals, why is he in your lineup?
It's not like a late game lead either. Like, they were up 3 goals in the first period. They had all game to do this.
Yep.
I don't understand.
Me either. But it is what it is.
So here will be my only pushback. I don't know if there's any of those guys that they would have played more than that in the bottom half of their lineup in a game like tonight.
Well, and I think that's the problem. Like,
right.
Like,
it's not about the guys.
They have chosen. It's not like anybody forced their hand. They have chosen the depth guys they want to run out there. They have selected Anton Bleed and Ben Myers. Fine, whatever. We can quibble with that decision, whatever. So these are the guys you've picked. And Bednar it doesn't matter. There's no trust. You just won't do it. You just won't do it. And for me, it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, AJ, you and I have talked about the Bleed call-up now for the last couple of days, just, back and forth texting and shit. I feel bad because, like, Anton Bleed works his ass off at practice. Like, he seems like he's well-liked. He's a good guy. All that – what the fuck? All that stuff. I don't know. What just happened?
Your camera went into, like, warp mode.
Yeah.
Anton Bleed in your camera.
Anyways.
Messing it up.
I was going to say, I got my camera feed hacked here by the Bleed family. He seems like he works really hard and he's well liked, and I'm sure, could have some level of NHL skill in there. From what I've seen, the way this team plays, of all the guys that they've called up, for me, he's been the least impressive and least impactful. AJ, you and I were talking the other morning about, like, we all kind of made a joke about that he's a loud player thing in training camp, but like genuinely, all jokes aside, like I don't notice Anton bleed when he's out there.
Yeah.
And then he ends up not being out there very much. It's just
this was my frustration with the way that they've gone about with Martin Kaut this year, is because it's always, well, he has such quiet games. He plays such a quiet game. You don't ever notice him. And then they call up Anton Bleed, and you're like, have you seen him once? Has he done one thing?
Well, and that's
one.
That's the struggle with me, is we've seen guys get called up. Foodie, the 4 shifts of Shane Bowers, where you've seen them and gone, oh, I liked that.
Well, it's not even I liked that. It's there they are.
Sure, they make themselves noticeable. That's a good way to put it.
And that was my big thing with Foodie in his games, and why that was a guy that I was maybe hoping you'd get the call up over Anton Bleed, is because I thought that was a guy who was noticeable and found a way to stand out in games. I mean, you guys know I that's my big issue. That's always been my big issue with Martin Kaut, is he just completely disappears. But to your point, AJ, Anton Bleed, I just don't notice him. I just don't notice him.
You could put that guy in a 99 sweater and cut and have it be fucking orange, and I couldn't see him out there.
Even when he's telling the refs he took the penalty, you don't notice him?
I mean, that part was fun, but if your most noticeable contribution is trying to be the fucking fall guy,
he's the perfect bodyguard. You don't notice him until someone's trying to shoot the guy. All right.
Yeah, he's no Charles Houdon, that's for sure.
Houdon's another one.
Literally pick a call up outside of maybe Cal Burke.
Yeah. Okay.
I gave Rant a shout last week.
On that note, if you're getting called up to the game and you need tickets, Game Time is the way to go. You can get your tickets through Game Time for up to 60% off prices. So it's an amazing way to go get yourself tickets. There's a link down in the description of this video where you can click on, take you over to Game Time. Over 15 million people have used it. When you use the link, it helps us out a little bit too. So please do that. When you check them out, the website's got everything covered for you. They'll show you where your seats are. They cover all major sports in North America. So you're good to go no matter what it is you're looking for, whether it's Avs, Nuggets, out of town, you name it. There you go. Yeah, showing you the way to get it. Right there. It says buy Avalanche tickets right there. You can get in there with Game Time, buy them up. Make sure you download their app. Use the link. Get it all good.
Oh, this cat.
Now, when you're going to the game, a lot of people use ride shares. And I know nobody likes to think about the worst that can happen. You end up on a ride share, you end up in an accident. Nobody wants to be a part of that, but those things do happen. And if that's happened to you, Bacchus and Schenker, they've got you covered. They will help you out. If you've been injured and it's not your fault, they will completely cover whatever you need. Go hit them up. It's a free consultation from them. They won't even have you pay them until you win money in your case. So Bacchus and Schenker, just out here doing it for people in Colorado for eternity. They've been doing it for so long. I remember as a kid, their commercials popping on. It's also why I think it's super dope that we're sponsored by them now.
I won't lie. I laughed when I saw it on the log. I was like, no way.
Right.
Exactly what you just said. I was like, I've been seeing that forever. That's so funny.
The most Colorado thing about us is that we're sponsored by Bacchus and Schenker.
Yeah.
I got a tagline for him.
What's
if this
that?
happens to you, just mash 2. Thank you.
It's perfect. Their phone number, for the record, is 222-2222. So
we had a guy in our post-game chat the other day say just push 2 for a while.
Yeah,
you'll get to
awesome.
Bacchus and Schenker eventually. Hit them up. They've won over $1 billion for their clients over the years, so they know what they're doing. They're hooking people up to get what they deserve if they were in an unfortunate accident. They cover car accidents, motorcycles, ride shares, pedestrians, trucks. They can even help if you're injured at work. So call them up with that 2 number and find out if you have a case for completely free. Bacchus and Schenker wins. Third period.
You think they would take a case that involves a Zamboni?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You said that like you're considering committing a Zamboni crime.
Well, he knows of one.
Yeah.
I mean, Deadpool did it, so,
He did do it.
Yeah.
Everyone's seen that Zamboni on fire video, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure Bacchus and Schenker could have won that guy something. Like, anyway, third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. It's 3 in a row for the Avs. They're officially back on the streak here. Everything's good. Everything's feeling better, despite Cale Makar being day to day. A couple of things here and there. You're rapidly approaching the All-Star break here.
Did you say crappedly on purpose?
I did not, no.
All right.
You have the back-to-back coming up this weekend, and then 3 games at home, Washington, Anaheim, St. Louis. Realistic expectations going forward here, if you go 3-2, is that good enough?
I mean,
Let's see.
6 games left, don't they?
I believe it's 5 after tonight. Yeah, it's the back-to-back and then 3 more.
All right. 3-2 would be fine because that means you go 4-2 to finish it off, and you feel fine about that.
That seems
better,
feasible.
That would be great because look, you need to pencil in the Seattle game as a loss.
Yep.
They're on the second night of a back-to-back, and Seattle is not. So Seattle just gets to sit there and watch the Avs struggle to beat the Canucks for the first time this year. So they've got that. But the rest of that, I mean, Anaheim, you have to win that game.
Oh, I scheduled that as a loss for the Avs, the way that they've been playing against teams like that this year.
You really need to win that game. Obviously, St. Louis, you feel like you love any opportunity to continue keeping them down bad. So win that game.
Has the
Washington game,
there, yeah.
Who knows? The Caps are so all over the place this year. Darcy Kemper, is he great again? Like now as he's on fire, they just got Backstrom and Tom Wilson back into the lineup. They're much harder to play against. Their lineup looks formidable. All their injury issues, and they're the only team that actually cares about winning this year that has the same kind of injury problems the Avs have had. Mm-hmm. So, and it looks like they're going to walk into that game. Who knows how healthy the Avs may or may not be with Manson, Byram, and Makar all
not far off.
Maybe not far off. We still know anything about Makar. So.
Certainly, Manson is not far off.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I guess Byram was post All-Star break, so I guess I'm jumping the gun there. But with Manson and maybe Makar back, you really feel like you should be fine.
Okay, so 4-2, a reasonable, attainable goal.
If your 2 losses are Washington and Seattle, you have no issues. Don't lose to Anaheim, and don't you dare fucking lose to Vancouver again.
Or like you said, St. Louis. I mean, they're right on the tails of the Avs right now. Like you need all those points that you can get, especially if teams that are just right there with you in the standings.
Well, especially if you're trying to convince St. Louis to be in seller mode in 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Don't give them points.
Bury them early.
Yeah.
Looking at that exact situation, the Avs slide up ahead of Nashville today with point totals. Again, as we mentioned on the pregame show, a win tonight squarely puts them ahead of Calgary by points percentage. But the Avs remain pretty much games in hand on everyone that matters except for Minnesota. So they still have schedule to make up and close gaps on a lot of these teams. Sitting at 49 points, technically 2 points out of a playoff spot, but games in hand means
you're 5 points back with 40 games to play, 39 games to play. Like that, and that's a third in your division, not of a playoff spot.
I actually would have to look, but when I looked this up, I think it was 3 or 4 games ago. The Avs had the 7th easiest remaining schedule in the league also. So is it 5th now?
Yeah, it is.
So things are set up pretty well for everything to align
Which
to
was
the
a
Avalanche.
thing that we had talked about, by
Yeah.
the way. Like the Avs have a lot of games against California to come.
Yep. They have that. They have relatively continuing to march toward being a healthier team.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Things are good. We'll put it that
They
way.
have 8 games left in California. I'm looking at the head-to-head right now. I was updating it. It's fun. Adding to the goal diff again. Went down to 1.
Yeah, it went down to 1, and now it's like skyrocketed back up.
It's back to 13. It's awesome.
Yep.
Did a casual plus 13 in 3 games.
Yeah. Turns out a 7-0, 6-3, 4-1 stretch helped the old goal differential.
Does wonders for math.
We got a few super chats to get to here. As Megan is memeing about the Houdon homies.
Yeah, let's go.
As vaguely sober is also memeing about them. Houdon did have a 3-point night down for the Eagles tonight.
Good bounce back for them after a bad night.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lose like 7-3?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Had a 3-1 lead and turned into a 7-3 loss.
Yeah.
RTV clearly watched my review video. Snow Unga Bunga good. Fire Unga Bunga bad. Very true. Thank you, RTV.
Well said. Avs fans, most articulate fan base.
Okay. That is the super chats. I'm about to literally pass out. So final thoughts and let's get out of here.
Great win.
3 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
It's like put those together instead of the injuries together. It's awesome.
What those guys said.
There you go.
Pray
We
for
are
McCarr.
out of here. We'll be back tomorrow for a normal 1 p.m. show, and then of course have you covered Friday and Saturday for the games. Hopefully I feel good enough to do watch-alongs and stuff at that point. We appreciate all of y'all. Stay safe with all the snow out there. We got like almost a foot out where I am, so it's pretty wild. We appreciate you, and we will see you on the next one.